Allahu Akbar.
At this time, I would like to request our beloved brother Rehan Khan to speak. A little short introduction on our beloved brother Rehan Khan. He went to USC and got his bachelor's degree in chemistry and then transferred on to UCI for his doctorate degree. Brother Rehan Khan also served as a YM National Shura Council member and now is currently the YIslamSC Southern California Secretary. Brother Rehan, if you could start speaking at this time. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah Abdullah, mashallah, it's always nice to hear your voice. Actually, it's beautiful, mashallah. Wish you the best. So the topic I was going to talk about today was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as creator. And so I wanted to start off by first introducing, because we're going to be talking about the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the very famous hadith. I'm sure a lot of us have heard of it before. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has 99 names. And Prophet ﷺ said, it's a hadith narrated by Abu Hurairah, it's in Bukhari, it's in a lot of other books as well, different narrations. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Allah has 99 names, so 100 minus 1 to be particular is what he said. And whoever knows them will go to paradise. Man ahsaha dakhala al-jannah. And so I wanted to talk about, what does it mean to know them? It doesn't, whoever knows the 99 names of Allah, does that mean, okay, I know Allah has 99 names, so does that mean that I'm going to enter Jannah now? No, it's not that simple, right? It doesn't just mean that I know of them. It doesn't even just mean that I've memorized them. But what it means is that you've actually accounted for them, that you actually really know them, that you've gotten to know them, that you've experienced Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by these names. And so that when you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let me rephrase that. So that in everything that you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You recognize in the things around you, in the signs that He shows you, His attributes and His characteristics and the names that are attributed to Him out of His perfection and His glory and His might subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so tonight we wanted to talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the creator. And I think that name is one that maybe it's something that maybe we take for granted. I'll tell you why. Because when we think of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the merciful, we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful. It's easy for us to experience Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the most merciful. Because I know that every moment of mercy in my life is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The mercy I feel towards others, the mercy that others have shown towards me, the mercy that I've received from my families and my friends and my loved ones, I know that Allah is the power behind all of those things, and Allah is in control of how all of that mercy has been distributed to me. So it is an attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ar-Rahman, the most merciful, because I actively see mercy every day of my life. And so the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Al-Khaliq, is that something that you actively see every day. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Because there are names of Allah that's very easy. For example, Al-Kareem, that's another one. The most generous. Because every time I receive a gift, or every time someone gives you some food, gifts you, for example, maybe something to break your fast with, when you're very thirsty, at the end of a long day, it's very hot, and you finally get something cold to drink, something sweet, and you drink it, it's a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Kareem, the most generous. And even deeper than that, I can be aware of the gifts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at every moment, because the ears that I'm using right now to listen, the eyes that I'm using right now to look, every little thing, even in this very moment that you're using, is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The moment itself that you're experiencing, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called you to be in halaq al-ilm, even if it's virtually, to be in a circle where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name is mentioned, that He may mention our names in a greater gathering, inshallah, His promise to us in the Hadith Qudsi, that is something that is a pure, generous gift from the most generous Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Al-Kareem. So we can definitely, every moment of our lives, experience Allah as Al-Kareem. But there are some names of Allah that might be a little more difficult, like Al-Khaliq, right? How do we experience Allah as the creator? And so there are 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like we said. And I want to mention this a few times so we remember it. The one who comes to know them the one who understands them, the one who's able to recognize them, to draw closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by experiencing these attributes will attain paradise. And some of the names, like we said, the generous, the most merciful, the loving, the source of peace, those are names that we can actually actively experience. And so what I wanted to do is give you guys an example of what is a name of Allah that maybe we take for granted, that we don't often see, but is actually very apparent to us. And one of these names of Allah is As-Samad, which I find just very beautiful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this name in a surah that we all know, a surah that we recite probably every day. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is As-Samad. So it's definitely a name that we've heard before, but do we know what it means? And like Al-Khaliq, As-Samad is one of those unique names of Allah that maybe we think we can't experience. And you know, I spent some time trying to look this up, because if you find a translation of the Quran and you go look up the translation of Surah Al-Ikhlas, you'll find that As-Samad is translated in what seem to be, you know, not contradictory, but very different ways. You'll see that As-Samad is sometimes translated as the self-sufficient, the eternally sought, the thing that the one that does not rely upon anything else. Those are some of the other translations you might see. And if you try to look at other places in the Quran, maybe As-Samad is given in other places. No, the name As-Samad is only in Surah Ikhlas. It is only in this particular part of the Quran, just in that last, or in towards the end of the Quran, Surah Ikhlas. That's it. It's unique, yet it's something that we recite so often. And so I found a very long article, not very long, but I found a long article by Muhammad al-Shanawi through Yaqeen Institute, where he summarized a lot of different scholars and their opinions, and a lot of what the Sahaba had said about this name As-Samad. And so I want to share a little bit with you today of what was concluded there, that it is included amongst the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His beauty and His grace. And it stems from a deep recognition of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's perfection. And then it fuels an endless hope in His divine support. So it's like a motivation to rely on Him, because He is absolutely perfect and relies on nothing else. The idea is this, that every single thing in the universe, it doesn't matter what, including us, the heavens and the earth, everything in between it, all of that relies on something. It doesn't exist on its own. It cannot stand on its own. Everything relies on something else except for As-Samad, the one whom upon everything else relies. So like the translations were saying, the eternally sought. Why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eternally sought? Because He is perfect. Nothing else can be perfect. Everything has to rely on Him. He is the self-sufficient, which is another translation of it. Because obviously nothing is needed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not rely upon anything else. Everything else relies upon Him. So all of mankind, all that is created in the earth, everything contained within it is imperfect and needy. And we were created to be needy and imperfect. And that is why the self-sufficient is eternally sought. As-Samad is the complete, and we are incomplete. And so it is built into our function that we choose to rely upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we seek out reliance upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's built into us. So that little inconspicuous name in Surah Al-Ikhlas, the motivation for us to seek perfection and to rely upon Allah is something that we can experience, even though we might overlook it. The eternally sought, the self-sufficient, you might be thinking, how is that a name that I can interact with? But it's actually a function built into your core, it's like hardwired into you. It's part of your creation to seek perfection, and that nothing in the world is completely self-reliant except for Allah. And so we can experience Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the perfect and seek out His perfection through that. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. Coming back to our main topic, there are names of Allah that are very easy for us to experience and to interact with. The names of Allah, like the source of peace, the most merciful, the most loving. And then there are other names of Allah like As-Samad, which we might overlook. We might think, okay, that's the name of Allah, I can't experience Him through. But it might require some work from us to actually reach that category of the people that can know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through these 99 names. And so the topic of the night that I wanted us to maybe take as an action item, how can we experience Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as Al-Khaliq, the creator? And I think now that if hopefully you guys have taken away that mindset that I want you to, if you are able to, see the signs of Allah in everything around you and experience Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by all of his attributes, then every single thing that you look at is a creation of Allah. Every last little thing, in subhanAllah, like parts of the creations of Allah is not just physical things, but it's time, the time around you, the time that's passing around you is a creation of Allah. The fact that you age is a creation of Allah. All of these things, your mind can run wild and you'll never be able to appreciate every last little detail that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created in this entire universe. And so that's what I wanted us to hopefully take away from this talk, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has 99 of these names, and we might have memorized them when we were little. There are songs to memorize them, nasheeds and so on, but just knowing them isn't enough to gain that rank of the ones who will enter paradise because they know the names of Allah. It's to actually experience them. And Al-Khaliq, Allah as the creator, is one of those names that we might have overlooked. That, okay, Allah is the creator. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to create something from scratch. If I designed an app, or if I, even if it's a virtual app, the electrons that are flowing through my computer, or the keys that I'm typing, or the processor that was designed, all of that is based on atoms and materials and so on that was created. You can't escape Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the signs that he has left us in every aspect of your life. There is no escape from it. So when we think of Allah as Al-Khaliq, we should think about everything. Everything can lead us back to remembering Allah. And so when we make dua to Allah, it's important that we call upon him, that's what I wanted to say. Call upon him by these names in their unique circumstances. Like when we have a particular need from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we call him by that name. And so Al-Khaliq is something that is apparent all around us, even though we might have overlooked it. So the thing I want you to take away from this talk, hopefully, we can spend some time learning the names of Allah and pick one that you might think is difficult for you to experience. Pick a name of Allah that you might think is not easy for you to see in the everyday world around you. And if you spend some time reflecting, I'm sure you'll be able to find that even some of these difficult names are names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we can interact with and have an active role in our lives with, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. العصر إن الإنسان في خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. جزاك الله خيرا.
Jazakallahu khairan, Brother Rehan Khan.